Hello, Cassie Brown here. I am thrilled to welcome you to the Brace for Impact podcast. I've been incredibly blessed to work with and coach some of the top entrepreneurs, CEOs, and marketers in the industry. And do you know the one thing that they all had in common? They didn't wait for the perfect time, but hit the ground running. They learned to see opportunity in motion and just leap. I created this podcast to help other entrepreneurs own their calling, expand their influence, get uncomfortable, embrace the growth of the journey to leave an impact on the world around them. For those who are ready to stop playing it small, to pick up the mantle of contribution that our clients in the world so desperately need. If that's you, then get ready to brace for impact as I share with you the top strategies, real truths, and hacks to crash through the obstacles and arrive in alignment of integrity, impact, and income. It's time to initiate the ripple effect of change. All right. Hi, everybody. I am Cassie Brown, and we are back for another really special episode of Brace for Impact. I've got my incredible friend, crazy talented Chris Benetti. You may know him from founder and CEO of the Funnel Division, which they build and launch incredible high converting sales funnels, and also his latest venture, Members Pro, that is the only membership platform that really cares about the students' experience and engagement, and they actually complete the courses. So I'm really, really excited to dive more into how that came about, Chris, but even more kind of give everyone like a backstory of how the podcast even came about. I can't even remember like what particular comment thread it was, but you had made a comment about collaboration. And I was like, yes, more people need to just appreciate each other's gifts and work together. You know, there's plenty of market share for all of us. And that kind of just went into a side conversation. And we were like, we've got to do a podcast on this because it's, for me, like it's in the world of marketing, like honesty, integrity, and transparency, and the people who truly care about the end result and the way that they serve. I really just feel like we have to stick together, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And the whole post or thing that sparked the conversation was literally a status that said competition, collaboration, and then a greater than sign pointing towards collaboration. And, you know, for me in the last 3 years now that I've been in this sort of online space, I've really just seen that some of the biggest and best wins come from giving to others rather than expecting to get everything that you sort of quote unquote think you deserve. And so for me, I've always come from a place of like you said, integrity and honesty and just being a really good, genuine person and how I can give back to people and give more to people rather than just always asking or always trying to take from people. And so I think that whole, you know, collaboration piece is really important because at the end of the day, the people that you're around and you do business with, they just want to feel like they're a part of something. And I really think that we should be opening the floor to let anyone sort of just work together, and like we should just be going at this together. Like I don't really think there's a need to fight or compete over anything. Like there's enough to go around, like you said.
I totally agree, and you are absolutely like just a person after my own heart. And as we got to talking, we realized that we had a lot of mutual friends and connections. And I think that's one of the things is like the network that you build and the way that you pour into others. It fills the gap not only of your weaknesses, but at the same time, I think the quicker that you realize you don't have to be the smartest person in the world or even in the room, actually, that you can learn more from others. You can actually learn more about yourself by showing up and serving others. That was a big aha for me because it is easier for me to give and serve others than it is for me to kind of see my own superpower or worth or anything like that. So, and it's funny that you mentioned it. I didn't realize it's pretty similar, our journeys, because it's been 3 years. Like 3 years ago, I watched my first webinar. Like webinar was never in my language before. So I'm coming up on the same kind of window of experience, but it was just stepping up and serving where I could while I learned the things that I felt like I was deficient on. And I was so fortunate to just have that network of people that surrounded me and poured into me. And it just became that reciprocal effect. So Can you talk about like your transition and like where you were before that led up to getting you here today?
Yeah, absolutely. So me right now, I'm 25. Straight out of high school at 17, went into, I live in Australia, if those of you who can't tell by my accent. And I actually did high school in a small mining town called Port Hedland in northern Western Australia. And so, there's probably 50,000 people there. And it's really an iron ore mining town and also a salt mining town. And so straight out of high school, I went into a mining company, and I worked for that company for 5 years. I did an apprenticeship for 4 years, and then I qualified and did 1 year as a tradesman. That's not really important, but 4 years ago, as soon as I qualified as a tradesman, I really identified that this is probably not what I'm passionate about, and I don't really want to work here for 40 more years to sort of get to retirement and then, live off of a small amount of we call it superannuation in Australia, or 401k over there for you guys. And, I really I just didn't want to do that. Like, it wasn't in my path. Like, I knew I could do things quicker. I knew I could do things differently. Now, still on those journeys, of course, there's definitely lots of learnings when you take on something like that. But with that said, I started, reading different books, and I came across Robert Kiyosaki randomly because I was into a couple of property investing books, and somehow Robert Kiyosaki came up. And then I got into like 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, and that sort of just like exploded my world. And I just went on a massive rabbit hole. I was probably reading about a book a week or so, and probably read about 20 books over that year. In the same sort of period, I started like figuring out different online things. In a sense, I bought a couple of Udemy courses, and I tried to do some like eBay selling and tried to do some email marketing with affiliates. I still don't really count those as anything. It was really a poor attempt, but I was trying to learn some different things. And around August of 2016, so 3 years ago in a couple months, I actually just randomly came across Russell Brunson, and it was just as they launched the affiliate bootcamp for the first time, when Steve Larsen was sort of doing it every single day. I was there, like, sort of watching it every single day. But what it ended up happening was I got into a little bit of trouble at work in August because I missed my flight to site. I used to do fly in, fly out from where I live. And yeah, I actually got stood down in my room at camp, and literally had 3 days to just watch Russell Brunson. I signed up for ClickFunnels. I was amazed at the thought of funnels. I watched like all of those Funnel U trainings with Trey Llewellyn and all of those people, and just got like absolutely hooked. And I got flown home, and I still didn't know if I had a job or not, but I just continued to watch and learn. And after about a week, I got called into the office. It was September 20, I believe, that I got called into the office, and they told me that I lost my job, like they're letting me go. And it was such a massive sigh of relief. It was obviously very difficult. I'm glad that like I had subconsciously like prepared for this moment, because I had saved up a ton of money. And yeah, as soon as I got fired, I just said, okay, cool, I'm just going to try this full time. I wish I stuck with the affiliate marketing stuff that I was learning about, because I'd probably be one of the dream car winners and all of that fun stuff. But, things went a different way. After about a couple of weeks, I was doing the ads, I was doing the training, I was trying to just learn and do everything I could that was being taught. But I wasn't creative enough to come up with different ways and different tactics that I didn't know yet, And so I saw an ad and basically applied for an internship at a Facebook marketing company called Your Social Voice here in Perth. And for those of you who know Your Social Voice, shout out to Kim Barrett. I basically worked for those guys for free from, September to the start of the year. And then I worked as much as I could. I worked every single day and just gave everything to learning. And in the new year, I actually basically just started working, getting paid from them, and working with some of their biggest clients. And it was weird, because I had gone from, in a matter of months, learning and reading about like millionaires and their businesses and stuff like that, to literally working with millionaires and being able to go out and have dinner with them and have beers with them, and getting invited to Bali to go hang out with them. And it was just like this massive like switch of scenarios. And I was just literally blown away by how quickly my circumstances changed, not from a monetary perspective, but from we'll just say a collaboration perspective. Like I was, just because I was willing to give so much of myself to learn, to benefit other people, all of my scenarios sort of changed, and I was able to be surrounded by the people I had envisioned myself being surrounded by. I was able to be friends with these people and work with these people. And so I was just, in 2017, I was just on this massive journey of like getting better and seeing how I could serve more. And I ended up getting invited to a ClickFunnels event called the Designathon, which was in August of 2017. And it was, for those of you who don't know, it was the world's top 30 ClickFunnels designers got asked to speak, go to ClickFunnels HQ and basically help them implement their new onboarding process for funnels, which Russell called the cookbook. So we built a ton of templates for ClickFunnels over the next probably 3 weeks. The event was only 2 days long, but we continued to work. And that was just a massive game changer, because I'd gone from one job to another job, which, it was great working and being surrounded by all these amazing people, but it was also probably like not really enough to get by from myself from a financial standpoint. And so I was starting to get back into like that employee mindset of like, why don't I deserve more? And like whenever I find myself in that scenario, I find that I get bitter and a little bit sour, and I think I just need some sort of switch and change that sort of reignites me in a different path. And so this event was really that for me. I met some of my greatest friends like Chad Thibodeau, Blake Newbar, Alex Taylor, Chris Murray, Jake from ClickFunnels, Steve Larson, Russell. Like I met some of the most, Julie Stolian. Like I can continue and go on, but all of these people were at this event. Tyler Jorgensen. Anyway, I met some of my greatest friends, and they just showed me what was like sort of possible. And it was so funny because a lot of us were just starting out at that event. Like it's really funny to see all these big names with 2 comma clubs and massive audiences. But for those of you who don't know, like Chad was literally had no money at that point. Blake Newbar had literally just learned about funnels. And Chris Murray, Alex Taylor, like those guys were pretty new as well. And so it's just funny, like we all sort of like had that switching moment at that event, and it really like ignited us into what we all are doing now. And after that event, I was on a massive high. I straight away signed up for some freelancing sites, and I started doing some side hustle just to basically help me feel like I could really create some stuff by myself. And over the next sort of 6 months, I was able to like double the income I was earning at that company for the year in a 6-month period. And, that sort of showed me that I didn't really need to stick around as an employee. And so it was in April of 2018 that I started the funnel division and decided to just go out on my own. And, I thought that was going to be a really awesome ride. And like, as most of us know, when we start out a business, sometimes it doesn't sort of go the way that we expect. And I sort of struggled for a few months. Like I got to a point where I couldn't pay myself, and I decided to then like do the thing that I did first when I jumped into this space. And I decided to just reach out to someone who I really admired, and I offered to do some free work for her. Even after all of the, experience that I had got up to that point, I just decided that I wanted to help her because I saw that she wasn't doing, the best that she could do. It wasn't from a, like, I'll help her and get paid or anything perspective. It was just like, I see that she needs help. So I wanted to help her. Anyways, the person was Rachel Peterson, who's a massive sort of influencer in this space. And yeah, like after we worked together, I was able to 4 times the conversions of the funnel that I had helped her with. And it was a live funnel that I overhauled. And yeah, we pretty much went on this pathway of working together. Like she became a client of mine and a raving fan as well. And so I really look at that point in time, it was mid 2018, as a massive turning point for me, because if I didn't sort of start working with her, I wasn't sure where I was getting clients from. It was sort of just like let's go into the ClickFunnels group and see if there's any clients in there today, sort of thing. I know most of you know what that's like. And so, Rachel really just like referred me to everyone. And from that point forward, I sort of had a really strong referral network and was able to generate pretty much all the business I need just from Rachel's good words and goodwill. And, I worked with some really big other names like Alex Sharfin, like Marley Baird, Stacey and Paul Martino, Christy Code Red, like all of these guys sort of came onto my client roster. And I sort of created this network of people who really enjoyed working with me from my perspective. I'll let them say something, whatever they think, but I think they really enjoyed working with me, and they were getting some good results with their stuff. And so it just became like Rachel being my biggest fan and referring me to a ton of people. And then as more people came on board, it sort of just like exponentially made more referrals because of more people shouting my praises. And so that was a really cool sort of journey to experience. And it really sort of just like saved my sanity in my business and sort of just made me feel comfortable with everything again. Yeah. And so that's pretty much like the gist of it. That sort of like leads us up to, I guess, the start of this year. This year's been a bit of a different story. It's been a bit of a journey of like, what am I really passionate about? And do I want to continue to work as an agency model and stress? Because if there's any agency owners out there, like, how stressful it is, especially if you don't have a productized service and you are still doing a lot of the work. Working with people is one of the hardest things I think we can do in this entrepreneur space from a business to business perspective, especially if people want results and are asking you to get those results for them, aka done for you service. I really think it's one of the hardest and most challenging things to do. So hats off to everyone who does that. And yeah, this year's been a bit of a different journey, but I'm getting through it. And, some of the things that I have sort of coming up is just really exciting for me, like Members Pro. Cassie mentioned that in the intro. And, I'm just really excited to help people. That's really what it comes down to for me. And I'm just really looking to leverage my skill set and help more and more people rather than just like sticking to a select few on the done for you side of things. And so that's pretty much, that encompasses pretty much the last 3 to 4 years for me. And it's been a bit of a wild ride.
That was amazing. And yeah, I definitely see that as a pivotal point. Like you said, a lot of people who were at that designathon and a lot of the names that are familiar with now, but even more so, they share, or many of them share the same passion for giving and collaboration. And I really think, being in the perfect place at the perfect time, but also like who you are at your core, when you allow that to come through, it's amplified when you're surrounded by the right people and the right network.
Definitely.
So I was taking notes.
I saw you.
And because like I realized, a lot of it, and for those of you who are listening, this is the first like really long conversation that Chris and I have had, but there's so many things that, we are just spot on in alignment. And so there was a pattern that you identified and that I feel like is super important. And it's what I teach as well, where you just start by serving, and then you go into the collaboration, and it's the results, right? When you're results focused and driven, that's what opens up, and that's what changes the opportunities for your business. And then you get to the point, like you said, where you do start to see there's more that I can do. There's a way that I can impact others. Because I started very similar to you, not on the design and funnel side, but on the marketing and the digital marketing, whereas you dove into like all of the funnels and Funnel U, like I signed up for every webinar that hit my Facebook news feed. It was like, it didn't matter what industry it was from. I wanted to see how they did it, what their follow-up and nurturing sequences were. Like, I couldn't get enough.
That's so awesome.
But that fourth part, that scaling for impact, like if you're an agency and you do focus on a lot of high touch and done for you services, you can't help but like feel that where it's like, okay, this has been great, but there's a way that I can serve more and I can get a message out to other people. And you start to realize if you can help other people impact more, then you create that ultimate ripple effect and you magnify whatever you were going to be capable of on your own.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, for me, from my perspective, I can go out and serve 5 people in the next few months. And it's absolutely rewarding for me to see their businesses help thousands of people, right? What I really want to start looking at doing and moving towards is how can I help people like me a year ago so that they can help their clients so that their clients can serve hundreds of thousands, so it's like, I just want to like take another step up and then serve people that were like me, that were sort of stuck and wanted to be able to offer more results-based services versus just products, right? I think at the end of the day, marketers and people, business owners, like they want to pay for results, like I would say 80% of the time. And so if you can show them that you can give them results, they're willing to pay more for your services rather than I'll build you a funnel and an email sequence. I'm not going to say it's going to do anything, but I'll do it. It's, it'll be $1,000. You can easily charge 10 times, 20 times that when you know that you can get them a specific result, right? And so I really just want to go to that next level and help people like me to a bigger extent. And with that said, it's not like I'm going to stop doing agency work because, again, like people like Billie Jean and stuff like that, they say that having an agency is a really good way to understand what's going on currently and, what sort of strategies and stuff work so that they can then teach that to their audience. I'll probably still continue to do the same for the foreseeable future. But what I've decided to do is just partner up with another good friend of mine. His name's Chris Holloway, and just go at it with two heads and just look at it from a different angle. Because right now, like I think for me, the biggest thing is it's very stressful trying to run and manage a team of people as well as talk and communicate with clients and then be in their businesses every single day. Like that's a lot of work for one person to sort of think about and strategize on and give or outsource tasks on. And like there's like a whole massive, like very complicated beast there. Right. And so I, moving forward, if any sort of project or funnel based stuff that I do, I'm just going to go at it with another person who is as talented as me, if not more talented, and so we can just go at it together and really just make sure that we are able to help the client as much as possible. And I guess that sort of ties into collaboration as well there, because, I figured I could still, earn double the money, if you will, and still have all of the responsibilities and stress. But right now, like I understand that that other 50% that I would have lost if I continued down that path wouldn't have been able to contribute towards Members Pro or, my like coaching side of things. And so that's sort of how I've looked at everything. And at the end of the day, I really just want to help people, and I just want to make sure that they're getting sort of the success that they want. And for me, having Members Pro and having a coaching side is really going to exponentially help me leverage the ability to help more people.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you saw that. Like that is total, like exactly what collaboration is all about. It's opening up your brain space because you might take on a strategic partner in certain projects or aspects of your business, but it's one of those things where it's like it also frees you up because you're exponentially increasing your impact. I don't think it would even be just double, like with with what you're creating in the software of Members Pro and then the coaching program. It's like you said, you're teaching other people to give and to serve and be that contribution to their clients. So our pastor one Sunday was sharing his experience in going to seminary school where they were just fascinated with their professor, and they just, a group of them got together and they asked the professor, like, why are you here teaching us? You're so good. You could be the leader of some crazy mega church. So why are you here with us? And he said, because I can teach all of you to go out and multiply that impact.
Yeah.
And that is exactly, you know, what our heart is, and for serving and creating that for others. So on collaboration, so what do you have coming up? And I want to, it's killing me because following this interview, like, we are going to dive deeper into what Members Pro is, and how we can collaborate, and how I can bring Members Pro to my clients. And just, so do you want to kind of just like, we'll go there a little bit, but like, do you have some other exciting collaborations coming up? And just, you know, even if you just want to share a little bit what they've meant in the growth of your business and just you as an individual.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, I've had a ton of different like joint venture opportunities come up over the years. And I'm sure we all get those, like, hey, instead of me paying for your services, do you want to just earn like a percentage of the revenue of the project? And I don't really think that's like true collaboration unless you're like actually invested in what they're particularly doing. And so a lot of those like have come across my plate over the years, and I'm like, and you know, like, it's probably not really for me. And you know, even if I say yes, I end up like spinning my wheels on the project for like 2 months, and then I'm like, crap, I haven't gotten anywhere. So a lot of those things have come up. But you know, more recently, just being able to like, I came from like this point like 6 months ago where I was like, I feel competent in teaching and helping people. Like, it was just like this revelation. There you go. It was just like this revelation that was like, Chris, you can now like like, what you say is of value. Like, people will listen and they will like get value from what you do. And it was just like this weird thing, because I had in the past 3 years, just like 2 of those years were like, like, people they don't want to listen to you. Like, there was this like this voice, or like, I just didn't feel competent in giving advice and value, like, unless it was like a one-on-one scenario. And you know, after I got to that point, I was like, okay, cool, Rachel, like, I want to speak at your event. And so I spoke at Rachel's BossCon event, and I feel as though that was just like the step of like, okay, Chris, you can teach. And then I released a website template, and like a very small, like, sort of 1 hour training to go along with helping someone who has been sort of fumbling around and like wanting to build their own website, but never like sort of got around to it. I just basically like cut all of the crap and was like, here's how you can do it in a day or two. Because I did it in a day or two. I like literally hustled out my own website, and it's beautiful, by the way, in 2 days, from nothing, from scratch. Idea, concept, copy, graphics, all of that stuff in 2 days. And then I was like, why don't I just sell this for like very low ticket and help some people? I ended up having like 80 odd people buy that. And a ton of them were sending me screenshots of their own websites and the things that they were doing with it, and some really kind words. And that was just like another, like, okay, what I'm doing is of value, you know? And I think from those sort of things coming up has really helped and shown me that if I want to go down the path of collaboration, or like, you know, offering my advice or my expertise to other people's audiences, then I can do that. Like, it's okay. Like, I know that I'm competent now, and just having the reassurance of people going, Chris, your stuff has really helped me, it's really awesome, has made like the biggest difference for me. And so, to answer a short question in a very long way, some collaborations that I have coming up that are not yet like completely determined is, you know, I'm going to be working with Rachel Peterson a little bit more. And that's going to be from a perspective of some lower ticket items. Planning on probably doing some templates. I think like we really just like want to help people who are stuck, create some really awesome stuff for them and their clients. But on a bigger side, I'm going to be helping her sort of mastermind or inner circle clients with their funnels. And so she's actually just introduced a 100K level in her high ticket mastermind program, which includes a ton of done for you services. And what she's envisioned is this, you know, marketing sort of event with the client in an exotic sort of like location somewhere in the world. And so she's like, let's all just fly to somewhere really crazy and like build their funnel and like do their ads and their copy and their marketing and like all of that with them right then and there. And so that's some stuff that's going to be happening in the near future with Rachel. And I would say, you know, there's a ton of different little projects that I really just want to work with a ton of people that I absolutely love with. But I would say like probably the main collaboration project that I've got going on is Members Pro. And I'm a part owner in that business. But, I just absolutely adore our partners, Lani and Sinead. Lani does some ads for us, and then Sinead's the tech wizard behind the project. And I've been working with Sinead now for a year and a half, and he's just a really awesome, genuine guy. And he really does care about, the things that we do and the way that we're able to impact people and their businesses. And he's willing to literally do anything to help people out and to make that happen. So yeah,
No, that's awesome. That is so awesome, just to, have that collaboration, to see the gap, to step in it and be the problem solver, and just be so results driven and focused on making someone's life better. I think that's the best definition of any market or industry or niche that we could be in, is that if whatever we are doing, producing or serving or creating, that it's genuinely improving someone's life.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I am really super excited to dive into Members Pro. So I think we're at the point where we'll wrap everything up with the podcast. And don't worry, guys, I'll come back and I'll give you a recap and all of the details on Members Pro. But I'm just really, really excited, especially that you guys did value the collaboration and realize that you guys could all come together and create something wonderful just with your skill sets and talents, because online education, it's growing, and there are course creators that are struggling with the user experience. And there are those of us who care about what people actually put into practice after they've paid the money and they've bought the course. There are some people who generally they don't care. They want the sale, they want the revenue goal. Exactly. And so that's why I love that you guys have put this front and center, that it's an improved members experience. It's an improved, it's an increase of their actually getting through the course and applying it to be able to really take that action and do something different and discover and hone their new talents, or whatever their passion is. So just, it's amazing. So
totally.
thank you.
I think I heard a statistic. Sorry to cut you off. I heard a statistic that the online learning space is going to be 4 times as big as it is right now in just a few years. And so if that's any indication towards where all of the colleges are going, and where we pretty much can see that most education locations are probably going to start moving things online. And so we really see the demand coming up, and people like me who realize that they can teach 6 months ago are going to start coming online and wanting to teach and looking at different platforms. And so just to wrap that up, it's going to be a big thing real soon, and that's really why we're so passionate about growing something that's really going to help people.
Yeah, no, that was totally worth the additional ad. Just today from school, my son came home and he had watched a couple YouTube videos. And the first one he showed me, he's fascinated. He's like, Mom, you got to see this. And the first one was talking about how the traditional model of school doesn't work anymore, that it was created, years ago, originally with the intention of creating people who could systematically follow directions and be excellent factory workers. And so it was just talking about through the gap in innovation and creative thinking and everything like that. And that was video number 1. And then he had a video number 2 to support his new discovery. And it was talking about, it was more of kind of like a first person experience where someone was getting reprimanded by their teacher for not making good test grades or whatever like that. And then it expanded on, in life, you don't get a job or you don't create opportunities within companies by filling out and checking multiple choice. That executives, and they even had quotes from Elon Musk and everything like that, the number 1 skill set that they look for is creativity. So that's incredible. So not only does your statistics, but YouTube backs it up.
Yeah, well, I think it's creativity and problem solving are probably the 2 biggest things that we need in life. Obviously, creativity is hard to teach, but you can teach problem solving pretty well. And so coming up, sure, you can like get some tests wrong, but if you problem solve on how to fix that answer, like
Yep.
at the end of the day, that is really the only like major skill set that you need. And, for me, that's why I'm really grateful that I went into mining straight out of high school, is because I learned how to problem solve really well. I was actually a breakdown maintenance person. So, that's really impacted the way that I look at funnels. And like, if I see a problem, I can probably fix it in 10 minutes. That's why people come to me for help. So anyway.
I love it. No, absolutely. Number one skill set, be creative and be a problem solver. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much for being with me and spend some time with us. And just to recap for those of you who may be driving, didn't have a chance to take notes, 4 key takeaways of what we talked about today is focus on serving, always value the relationships over the revenue, and seek out collaboration so that you can grow and hone your skill sets and be focused on the results. And then you're going to make that same transition point as you continue to grow and push your boundaries to really scale strategically so that you can create that ripple effect of impact. So thank you again for being with us. And I'll definitely be sure to follow up with the Members Pro and put all of the links if anyone's interested in finding out more and getting in touch with you.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yay! Thanks so much for spending time with me today. I hope you've received value, encouragement, and exactly what you need to help keep you in momentum to grow and impact the world around you. Big or small, we all make a difference. Thanks also for subscribing, downloading, and leaving a review. This helps us reach others who need this message in their life. If you know anyone who would benefit from this podcast, please share so you and I can help more people boldly step into purpose. It is my heart's mission to help and encourage others. My internal belief that a rising tide lifts all ships. So much of what we talk about on the podcast is leading with value and building relationships through service. So we've created a collection of resources for you to continue growing, whether you are just getting started or ready to scale your business. Visit amplifymyimpact.com for show notes, downloads, programs, and more information about how to directly work with our team to amplify your impact and change the world.